that. I think I should stop right now. This first poem is about Cedar Key. I always have to have a Cedar Key poem. And sometimes when I'm enjoying our island paradise, I worry about how close we are to the newt plant at Crystal River. I'm sure you all do. Gulfside lyric. On Turkey Rock, cormorants, like old-time jesters, jostle wing to wing. Gulls hang gray, floating check marks in whipped cream air. Way above, ribbons of silver ibis, tossed white silk, float in kaleidoscopic movement. Egrets pick their way, 1 foot carved with grace, in alabaster elegance. Across the gulf at Crystal, powder puffs rise, benevolent in the azure sky. So we take our chances, live the moment, and dance like no one's watching. Most of us who write have had the feeling that I have often of nagging guilt about not getting at writing. This poem is about the irony I feel for the issue. My laptop. My laptop glares at me. I feel it even when I'm away from its surly presence. Beast of burden, carping mother. Right, it says. At least a poem, nothing complicated. You don't love me anymore. I sidle by, eyes averted, avoid its annoying, jealous face. Cakes wait, unbaked, unpaid bills growl at me from the desk. Black look from that blank face. Cursor persistently nagging. What are you, a housefrau or a poet? Husband and I, Gordon, we went home to Ontario in January. What a big mistake. I had that wonderful northern experience of having the driveway filled in by the great steel blade of the snowplow just when I was about to go out. You can't get too much winter in the winter, Robert Frost wrote in his poem, Snow. Dogs of winter bite at my legs, above the boot, below the coat. Camouflaged by deceptive drifts of white, ice from December lurks in deadly layers, waiting for the outflung wrist, the hurried hip, impervious to the sparkling fling of salt. Coal hard berms, higher than the clanking plow, hide the rutted road. Sleep deprived by 3 days' storm, the sadistic driver blocks our escape, packs an icy gravel-studded mound across the driveway with the beast's steel wing. Poking ineffectually with the shovel, sweat drips down my glasses. The driver waves. Fingers covered by mitts. I'm beyond response. Later in the dark night, the wind drives pellets at my window. I pray, God, don't let me die in the winter and get me out of here. I hope there's enough winter where you are, Robert Frost. I had a request to read my retirement poem, and while that's a number of years ago for me, this is my retirement poem for all you newly retired people. It's called Paring. It's not the paring down, it's the cutting out a whole chunk of a self-portrait. The books lined up in their expert jackets, not knowing their days are numbered, waiting to be flipped open again. The expectant wall suits in their tight-lipped garment bags, a knowledgeable, gray, mothball smell drifting out from the zippers, ready to stand with authority. Next stop for them, the Sally Ann, jumbled in with polyesters and fuzzy acrylics. The nameplate, forlorn without its impressive door, tarnished there in the drawer, in the disreputable company of bent paper clips, sagging elastic bands. It's not the paring down, it's biting off whole chunks, the way you eat a pear down to a browning core, punctuated with hopeful seeds. This last one is in honor of the old-time Cedar Key folks who are meeting this weekend in Cedar Key to share their memories. And I wrote this sort of a prose poem in remembrance of one now gone. A lot of you will remember Grady McLeod. Grady, a gentleman through and through, doffed his hat to the ladies and always asked, "Ma'am," when he didn't quite hear them. Only half joking, complained about all the Yankees in town. Anything north was a Yankee. With moist eyes, he told how his dad, not wanting him to stay in Cedar Key for a life of fishing, made him go out on the Gulf day and night until he was so sick of it, he walked the long road to Gainesville to get an education and a job. His heart, he said, never left Cedar Key. At the museum, looking at a map of Florida from the 1880s, Grady told me that when he was a boy, anything south of Tampa was called Mosquito because there wasn't anything else there except bugs. Grady was so proud of his wife, Omega, who also came from a long Cedar Key heritage. He always put his arm around her in church and escorted her like a queen into the hall. Happy to tell of her early Cedar Key heritage, he said that her parents lived on a Seniote. There were 8 kids in the family. His wife Omega was the youngest, and the eldest one was named Alpha. He liked to talk. You couldn't get away without a story. His lady friend once said, "I've heard them all." But that's a good thing. Stories are our history. Thank you.